Hello everyone! Today we're going to be learning how to break Star Survivors using Hero Swann. So Hero Swann is historically the original broken build. The interaction between his innate ability that he and his bots benefit from all passives creates a lot of interesting interactions. The main one we're going to abuse is that resocialization means that you summon more bots. Munitions increases the flat damage of your bots from 5 to 21, and hero buffs upgrade the flat unit damage and attack speed of your bots. The total stacked multipliers creates what I'm confident is saying is, for most intents and purposes, the highest DPS build in the game. Now, compared to other builds, our start is going to be a little weaker because we really need to get the upgrades going. Our unit choices, however, are going to be purely about what makes the early game easier. So, since the bots are going to cover our entire late game, we just care about cheap early units that cover us and use our passives. Since we're using resocialization, we're going to go Marines. I'm tempted to go medevac, but this build doesn't need medevac because we get map presence without it. Afterburners is going to be key. So this time, if you don't get the... you can open either on a high number of passives that are buffing your hero stuff, or you can open on a good early unit like Marines, Hellions, tanks. This time we got the unit opening, which is completely playable, and in fact it's probably more straightforward. But know that you can also do a more passives opening. And even though we're starting on Marines, we're still somewhat going to prioritize, especially getting resock. I'm trapped against the sling. There. Yeah, getting that gold mineral, or that green mineral, is very key to having a good opening. So here, between munitions and hero damage, munitions is going to increase our damage much faster, and it's also going to help Marines a lot more. So even though we're going to be a hero build, we're not taking that yet. We're going to go smart servos. We're going to take advanced optics because we have an extra passive slot, but we're not necessarily going to go ghost. Going to go munitions again, and now black market weapons. Black market weapons is super important for this build, because the faster we're attacking, the more we protect ourselves. We very quickly reach the point where we're one-shotting most early game threats, so it becomes far more important to actually kill more things than it does to deal more damage. Obviously, by late game, the hero damage is going to be a lot more of our DPS. A big part of this build is going to be StarCraft 2's regular play style control. We're going to be leaning on our hotkey to control Swann. I have him set to 1. And we're going to be using all army to control our bots separate from that, so we don't have to keep recreating control groups for units that only last 20 seconds. Resocialization is huge. Cellular reactor is really good. Afterburners, black market weapons again. And so now we're going to slowly reach the point where we're snowballing the game out of control. So yeah, definitely not the fastest first hive in the world, certainly not the fastest first hive that Swann can do. But the idea here is that you want to snowball into your great hero stuff. Now this first infestor, I don't know if I've mentioned this in previous videos, this first infestor is always an elite. So once you see that orb, you can come over here and just get a chest. Now that we have resocialization and munitions, our Marines are going to be really effective when they evolve. So we are going to try to go for a units opening, but again, if we're not getting a lot of levels in Marine and we do see hero weapons and more passive levels, we'll just put our points into those. Yeah, let's go Marine for now. We don't need Stim, we don't need Fire Bats, and we probably don't want Vikings, so we banish this. Hellion is probably the best second unit. Marine Hellion, I think, is my favorite combination for this build. So even though we could upgrade munitions, I'm going to grab the Hellion. Jorium is a passive we need. I don't think we need more pickup radius as badly as extra Hellions help us, but Marines help us even more than the Hellions do, and resocialization helps us more than Marines or Hellions do. So, you sort of have to keep an open mind about how you want to level up constantly, because, you know, any particular logic is going to have to adjust a little bit to each level. You can't have, like, one heuristic. Now, what I'm going to do here is to deal with Molten Sal, I'm just going to all army, send my bots over after summoning them, and then recontrol Swann again to stay safe. If they don't kill him, which I don't think they will, we're going to summon our bots on top of it. We want to get into the rotation of fighting these as early as possible. Being able to fight bots without any worry is one of, or being able to fight side objectives without any counterattacking from them is one of Swann's biggest benefits. Having an army that just does everything for you is really, really good. Hellions, I'm torn between more Hellions and more Jorium here. I think I'm going to go with more Jorium. Jorium is just such an important multiplier to how quickly you level up early game. Maxed out Jorium gives you about 80% more money, but that can high roll really, really well. So both of those things are really important because Jorium has a maxed out 15% chance of giving you 5 times more power, and 15% of, or 15 is like 1 in 7, so 1 in 7 for 5 times, that's about 80%. That's how I do the math. That math might be wrong, but I would say seeing the extra 20-30 levels that I usually get with money builds, it's about accurate. See, and this is like the high roll I'm talking about. That red is huge this early. So I think we're going to evolve Marines, get the weapons. These two are pretty bad. Hellion, Hellion, and Hellion, and Jordan. So we're going to delay going off on that side objective just because our bots aren't very good right now. We're still missing hero weapons, and munitions isn't fully leveled, so our bots are doing a lot less damage than we are. This will change. But this is how you kind of have to think about this build. If you're getting like all of the passives early, you're going to need your bots for personal coverage more. If you're getting all of the unit stuff early... Oh, cool, we also are set up for Hellions, that's right. If you're getting all the unit stuff earlier, you lean more on your units. So being adaptable is key for this build's early game, and then being good at multitasking is key for the late game. So we're going to just kill this Ravager, so we evolve our Marines. Or we already have troopers, okay. And then we're going to fight this robot. This robot is the highest damage, yeah, we grab hero weapons the moment we can. This robot is the highest damage bounty, but it's also the weakest. Let's up our troopers, let's up our hero damage, let's up our troopers, let's up our troopers. It's the highest damage, but it's also the squishiest generally, so I'm gonna all army onto that, and then come over and start killing with this Slayer cluster. Notice that we cleared all of this before, and this money is still here. If you plan to come back to areas, you can really effectively, like, you know, not lose out on money, especially the static money. The static money is the main thing that levels us up before there's 10 minutes left. This build really does not struggle with the Hydra waves one bit. Now, I know that we want to get on bounties as soon as possible, but we have a lot of extra money to play with this build. You can get 7 bounties basically never. So let's black market. Hero speed is going to be really, really good because that increases our hero speed, but it also means that our bots can get to where they need to go faster, so it makes the effective damage of each bot higher. It's a lot more important than barracks or factory upgrades. But yeah, because we can only get about 6 bounties basically no matter what we do, waiting when a bounty summons and just doing the objectives you need to do instead of immediately sending stuff over can be really good. Again, our hero damage and munitions are still a little low for this point in the game. So while I want to prioritize them as much as possible, we can only get what we get out of each level. And it's not worth it to over-focus on those things or try to save points when we can increase our overall power by just continuing as is. That having been said, we did just get a lot of relevant power. I didn't talk about the exact reason we got advanced optics. The main reason is for stuff like this, where there's like a bush and there's like high ground up here and we want to be able to see it all. The passive setup we use is hero, damage, speed, money, but Swann gets 9 total passives because he, by default, already has the speed. So one of those slots gets to be flexible. Now, Tarrasques and Brutalisks summon purples by default, so there's a chance we get a black mineral very early. I think we did because we have so much extra money right now. Since I'm not sending those bots over to the bounty, I'm just going to summon them here. Mordorium. Afterburners is now getting more important. Pickup radius is always nice. We're already killing everything with our units, so I'm focusing more on our passives than on our units, but we don't need more vision range, so units it is. Yeah, and that's the general decision-making process. Being able to just summon 18 of these bots on a whim because you get 6 summons of them and each of them gets resocialization is super nice for just clearing the map. As we go, our Ares bots are going to be our key coverage units, whereas the Vespian Harvesters are going to be used for utility. We're going to send over them to start killing bounties soon. They also interrupt pathing, so even though they can't be damaged, they do block units, and units don't aggro them because they can't hit them. So you can really just sort of, shoot. What's the expression? Shoot monkeys in a barrel. Shoot fish in a barrel? Shoot fish in a barrel. Don't know why I'm bullying monkeys. Afterburners for the speed. Finish Firebat, and then finish Optics. And hold on to your rest of your points for the artifact pieces. And then that was the combination where you use, you summon all your robots, you press all army, you click over to the objective, and you click with all of your army, and then you separate Swann from that by using whatever key you'd like to use. One of the benefits of this as well is that they'll tend to clear out a lot else after they go somewhere, so there they also cleared that hatchery. We're going to go pick up that money so that we're in position to start killing the next bounty once we can. Well, once it summons, which it just did. The Evolved Hellions are now also dropping us extra money. That's another reason why we're not too worried about getting the elites super quickly. The Hellions cover us really well. So the main ones you're looking for are hero damage, unit damage, cooldown, and movement speed, I would say. And extra summons, or extra spawns. Attack speed and damage aren't important, and I want to get into that in sort of explaining the reason we're not taking Stim or Ordnance. Stim has a total damage increase of 40%, which is less than 1 level of black market weapons of 50%, and those are additive. So it means it's adding to your total attack speed bonus, which means you're getting less than a level out of it. It's not like all of the 50% from Ordnance, or from Stim is... I'm talking over myself. You're not getting the 50% black market weapons all being increased by that 40%. You're just getting an extra 40. Same question with Ordnance. Ordnance is 48%, and you get 6 levels at 75. You're getting practically almost half of a level, but definitely less than 1 level from Ordnance. So we don't want to waste an entire passive slot for that. For the same reason we don't want the attack speed passive. That was really bad by me. Let me get more healing. Don't walk directly under threats. It's not good for you. It takes some getting used to, but still being able to target out bounties while the artifact faults are up is very helpful. It's not, like, massively important, but it doesn't hurt. But yeah, the margin of error on this build is pretty high, but the actual like way you're supposed to play it is, I would say, very unique as far as Star Survivors or even Survivors games go, because you're relying on like your super powerful bots. The fun of the hero build for Swann is that it's not really a hero build, it's an RTS build. If you want to play Swann a different way, there's tons of good ways to play Swann. Emphasizing units like with a, hero, or not hero, speed, money, and then 4 damage build, where you just take stim, ordnance, munitions, and resock. That works extremely well. You can cut one of those, whichever one you don't want, for a battlecruiser. Probably you cut resocialization in that case. You can play that with Ghost Tank if you want to cut something. You can play that with Hellion Ghost. You can play it with Ghost Trooper. I just really like Troopers. Or I really like Ghosts. You can even use like Tank Goliath, I think is a really useful comp on him. Because Goliaths are very good at air coverage and like incidental light damage, and tanks are good at everything else. Including like grouped light damage, right? It's not like you're stranding yourself against light units. I didn't grab this bounty because it slows you down, and I try to avoid... Oh, no, it's actually this one, isn't it? I try to avoid the slow artifact for as long as possible. And I think it's on me now, yeah. And again, we're gonna wait for us to be able to level up or get a lot closer to that bounty before we grab it. So even though we don't have quite the map movement ourselves of the medevac builds, we're actually in a lot of ways faster than them because we can be in multiple places at the same time. And the reason I don't want to send the bots out before I've upgraded movement speed is because the bots get lowered by the movement speed. The debuffs affect our bots the same way the buffs do. So Black Market. Here we're going to go for the number of orbitals because that will continue to upgrade Vespian Harvesters. It'll be a while before we get value out of that, but in the post game we're going to be summoning 5, 6 of these like amazing flying monkeys every single time we cast it. This Tarrasque wave, if you don't have bots covering you, is going to be pretty rough. This build can play more into buffing your Marines if you want to. You can even go Ordnance or Stim, or both if you want to cut something, and sort of play a combination Hero-Marine build. But you don't have to, and I prefer to stick to the pure hero side because I feel like you get more power out of that than just staying to units. The thing that makes this build so neat to me is that we get that extra hero power and that like full map control. So yeah, this is gonna die. Yeah, we're at 3 bounties currently, 3, but we're about to get our freebie. And I'm in no rush to get bounties as fast as possible because we're not going to get value out of bounties for a long time. Bounties don't really do much until you have a good number of them and you have, like, say, 20, 30 points. The only bounty that really does something before that is the Raven one, and we're not getting the Raven bounty. If we can avoid it anyway. Any build that has either medevac or Ghost Vision is going to want to not get the Raven passive, because the Raven passive just gives you it just gives you like a bit of range and a bit of cliff sight, which you have otherwise, right? It's not really increasing your power. Now we just saw the Hero Zagara. I consider that as my like focus moment, because Hero Zagara is like, at this point the waves are going to be a little more intense, and you're going to want to be prepared for it. 5 minutes is when the Tarrasques and Ultralisks and eventually actual Zagaras start showing up, is really the make or break moment for a lot of builds. But this is the sort of, if you're not already clearing the map, it's your wake-up call. So yeah, we're going to take cooldown here, because cooldown increases our uptime. Like I said, attack speed doesn't do very much, because we need a lot of levels. We need 100 levels to reach 1 level of black market weapons. That's how you got to think about it, right? So how many levels of this do you need to equal 1 level of munitions? You need 8. That's not so bad, because you're going to get that many. How many levels of rapid recruitment do you need 1 level of restock? Well, you need 30, but restock is a really efficient passive, right? Movement speed, same story. You need, to get 1 level of afterburners, you need 10 levels. That's really efficient. We already have one. So, if a passive is costing you like more than 40 points to get 1 of its equivalent, it's not really that worth it. And that's even less true for like, it's even more true for ones outside of resocialization, where resocialization is just really efficient. Yeah. There we didn't even have to teleport anyway, we're just enjoying the luxury. And there the bots killed the elite before we had to worry about it. I prefer saving our bots for when we're in more danger, and using the aerial bots for, yeah, the combat drop, the Ares I like using when we're in danger, and I like using the Ares bots to go kill objectives. But you can use the aerial bots to cover you, you can use them to snipe elites out of packs, you can use them a lot of different ways. And if you start getting into challenge running, you'll start like seeing all of these little opportunities to use them, because you won't have another choice. Swann was for a long time the primary challenge run hero, just because a lot of challenge runs involve do this without units, do this with fewer passives, with this passives, with these restrictions, use this without this, and Swann has a lot of luxury to do that while just playing a hero build. Now, if you're going to play Swann without hero build, your bots are more there to do incidental damage, because you're not going to have their full insane power. They're still going to be strong, especially if you're still using munitions and resocialization, but they're going to be a lot flatter if they're not meant to be super like buffed up. So our 5 passives we want are Covert Ops, High Grade Stimpack, our 5 Black Market, are these 4 in hero damage. We don't see hero damage, so we're just going to take the healing. Getting some incidental health back is a lot more powerful than it looks. So even though it's like, oh, it's only like less than 1 health a second, well, a lot of seconds pass where we're not in any danger, so that ends up being a good bit of healing. And since we don't have passive regen at all, that extra healing is really important. So I'm going to have my army. Yeah, that's a case where like, oh, there's an elite, I want my army hitting it while I'm running away. All army, click it, run back. Basic StarCraft control ideas there. Obviously in StarCraft maybe you're not using all army as much as I am here, but because because these bots are timed, we don't want to constantly be re-hotkeying them, because that wastes time, right? I'm gonna bring these bots back because they ended up not being necessary. I sent them out early just in case. During the final wave, we get 35. Not the final wave, but the post game. We can get 36 extra Starbucks. So since we need 30 for our next cash, we're not worried about it. And again, despite the fact I've been playing like not too aggressively elite hunting for a lot of the early game, there's no way we would have had enough that after the 5 and 9 we would have gotten an additional 26 Starbucks. So that's what I mean by the 6 is guaranteed, 7 is almost impossible. And here troopers they're being troopers, they're covering us. If your units aren't as good at this point in the game, you can always just stop sending out harvesters and just cover yourself with them. this isn't a hard moment in the game because you're getting a lot of money, you're dealing a lot of damage, but it's definitely one where you gotta like pay attention and realize like, oh, should I be using my cooldowns to protect myself, or should I be using them to continue going on side objectives? Spending your Ares bots pretty much off cooldown is super, super important here, because otherwise you're gonna strand yourself a little bit. Like, as useful as they are to like solve specific problems, if you save them too much to solve specific problems, you could be in situations like this, but without the extra bots covering you. And these extra bots, these extra air bots, are about as useful as the Ares bots when they've been like leveled up this much. But yeah, just drop cooldowns on yourself. Decide when you want to send to side objectives. Hold on to, I guess the logic is hold on to your harvesters until you see a reason to use them, unless you like build up to more than 4, and then spend your Ares bots constantly to like give you a big edge in combat, is how I like to play it. And I accidentally all armied when I shouldn't have, so that would have been bad, but that's why this is a bit of a harder, more involved build. A lot is happening by like both in terms of gameplay and in terms of just like sheer strategic design. This really had to be crafted as a build instead of just sort of coming together. Grab that. Summoning these 4 bots, sending them over here, and then Leviathaning myself to give me coverage. Leviathans will block you and others, so you can use them to sort of wall yourself in and stun a big group of enemies really efficiently. We're already at the point where the rapid recruitment is giving us an extra trooper. Or, well, yeah, an extra trooper, but an extra of each type of bot. So now we're summoning 4 harvesters instead of 3. And the tooltip even adjusts to that. Good job, developers. And now the Kerrigan wave. The Kerrigan wave only lasts a minute, so I like to quickly check my bot count in the map just to see, can I get another bounty. Sometimes, if it's down to the last 20-15 seconds, spending your bots on a bounty is actually just a really good way to make the aim-on phase a lot harder. But here it's still early enough, because the bounty doesn't survive the scene transition. So when the new hybrid summons, if you haven't killed anything on screen, it just dies and doesn't drop anything. We want to pick up these white minerals. We want to pick up the black minerals. The black and white minerals are the best ones, the white ones being 5 times as good as the black ones. And then the purples are 5 times worse than the black ones. And yeah, it's like each stage is about 5 times. The only one that's 4 times is gold to red, which is 4 times. It goes 25 to 100, and it's 100 to 500, 500 to 2500, etc., etc. So here we're just leaning on our bots a little bit to clear those. Now, an important interaction, and this matters for other builds as well, is between munitions and multiplicative damage. The damage we get from munitions of 16 flat gets multiplied by hero weapons, and gets multiplied by, hopefully, the hero weapons black market. So that's why we're seeing 21 damage plus 230, almost, at a rate of 5 times a second, because we're multiplying that extra flat damage. Now, when we don't have bots right now, we're not going to be able to have much coverage, because we're like our Marines and our Hellions are not really good at this stage of the game. If we just let them handle by themselves, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Like I said, you can play this build more towards unit power, but I think it's a lot better to leverage the bots as much as possible, and it's certainly a lot more interesting. Our goal for this phase of the game is that there is a number of waves that are extremely, extremely dangerous, most notably the solid zealot waves and the new flyer corruptor seeker missile things. I think those are really cool, really well designed units, but they're also very scary, and you don't want to be caught without your bots when they come up. Your Hellions can help a lot against the former, your Marines can help a lot against the latter, but you still want to be proactive about or not proactive, but be like prepared to just sort of sit in place. And because we got to sit in place to survive like this horde, we want to have at least, I wanted to get to 30 money, to 30 Starbucks before this phase started, so that we weren't in like too much pressure to kill another shrine before the shop comes up, or another obelisk before the shard comes up, so that we could just sort of sit here and take this. Now, part of the benefit of this is that this is a lot of money. Each 5 of these is worth a hybrid by itself, effectively. And then we go black market, and then there's hero weapons, so we're lucky. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 extra passives over what we can get, like more than we'd want. So you can get RNG'd into not getting maybe the flat damage or the multiplicative damage or the extra units, but just getting, I would say, 4 of them, getting 4 of the passives you want is enough to really show good power. If you can't get all of the power you need, you see, if you were comparing to how we were killing the shards before, this is a lot faster. But if you can't get all the power you need, just getting like 4 of the power-up passives to cool down hero damage, attack speed, and, or not attack speed, but flat damage, and resocialization too, the recruitment cache. Just getting 2 of those is enough to really cover you. And if you want to, you can play for more safety with your other caches, or you can play for more unit damage. You can take like regular attack speed and barracks damage if you want your troopers to be relevant at this stage of the game. Or there's nothing you can really do to make Hellions relevant against anything but these guys, but even just having the factory damage will make them more reliably one-shot. So now, because we're safe and because we have everything we need, we're just going to sit in this little corner and farm money. Our health regen is now at the point where we're regenerating 3 health a second. That is huge. Watch just how our health bar just like, oh, we took a hit. That's fine, we're back to full. And that's sort of the level of margin of error that you build up, where healing over time lets you make a mistake and come back from it really easily, instead of just sort of being stranded into, okay, I made a mistake, now I can't like move, and then I have to like go out into the map and find these healings. Keeping these heals on the map is really important because you can use them as your sort of backup survival plan. But the important thing about the regen passive is that you don't really want to do that, and you can avoid doing that for longer. The measure of a good build at this phase of the game is how quickly can we kill your Thrashers, and in this case, I didn't think we really saw them on screen for that long. Fully decked out this build, out DPSs the build are going to be showing up next, which is Hero Nova, and specifically Sniper Nova. That is, just my opinion, the strongest build in the game, but that's partially because of how consistent it is. This build is a little less consistent because you can't always get the full bounty setup you want, but in this game we did, and in this game our bots are going to be able to just, like, we could just stand here and like spread out, and these can just cover everything. And we just look in each corner like, oh, are you seeing anything important? No, not really. So we're just gonna, run around, make sure this really valuable clumps of money don't respawn, or don't despawn, while letting our bots just handle everything. So, had a little bit of a rough moment there. It's part of why I like to have the bots all around us, because if we're like moving independently, it can be scary for us. And see, yeah, Thrashers are dying off screen. If you haven't gotten your 5th bounty yet, or your 6th bounty yet, this phase will normally get it for you because the Thrashers drop money. But, yeah, Well, maybe we could have actually gotten to the 7th. I've never actually managed to do it on a 2-player map. That's part of why I like 2-player maps for balance reasons, that they tend to be a lot more fair, because you can get like a ridiculous amount of power, way more levels with those extra summons. Yeah, so we have the cooldown passive like really giving us a lot of power now, so we can just summon everything right on top of Amon, and it's just going to chase him around. So here, we sent our bots to kill the drones, or to kill the towers, while we're running away. So we get to be much, much safer than otherwise. And see, yep, the bots killed it while it was off screen. Perfect. Yeah. If you want to try that more multitasking unit control style, this is the only real build in the game to do it with. Obviously, I mentioned there's a lot of flexibility and you can like curve it different ways. But yeah, this is the first like real constructed build in Star Survivors, and it was the first thing that really broke the game in half. Good luck out there.